Oh, so we're live? Okay, hi everyone. Today I want to show you a game that I played recently. Again, we will not concentrate a lot on the theory, but just on specific moments during the game. So I had the black pieces, and this is a 5 minutes plus 3 seconds increment game. e4, c6, d4, and d5. Caro-Kann on the board. Okay, making the bishop active and taking it outside of the pawn chain because e6 is coming. Okay, opponent develops, wants to castle as soon as possible. Now c5, and this basically strikes in the center, yeah, the strong white center. Defending, takes, and knight to c6. Castle. So h6 basically prevents the bishop from coming to b5. Okay, developing, attacking the bishop, and bishop goes back. Still active on this diagonal, not allowing probably the rook to come here, and then the knight will be pinned. Okay, so this is asking for an exchange of bishops, but black should not take it, in my opinion, because then it will develop for free the white's queen. Okay, bishop goes back. Again, you'll see a lot of mistakes, a lot of blunders, but that's not the point. The point is to have fun and to try to understand the game. Okay, so rook goes there. Now the knight is pinned. Now the knight is developed, and then if bishop takes bishop, then knight takes bishop. Okay, that pins the knight, and that's attacking the bishop, of course. Bishop goes back, and now I'm retreating the bishop to b6. Okay, this is unpinning the knight on e7. Bishop takes, knight takes. Why the knight takes? Because the knight from here wasn't such a good piece. Couldn't jump really anywhere, but from here it's kind of makes more sense to put it. Maybe bishop will take bishop and then knight will jump here to g6 in the future. Okay, so this attacks the bishop twice. Takes. I don't want to castle because um, basically white does not have the bishop, yeah, any of the bishops, and these knights won't be able to create an attack on the king side, and in fact I'm going to advance my pawns and kick these knights away. So I felt that my king should be pretty safe. So starting attacking the knights, one knight goes back, attacking the second knight goes back, and now this is strengthening the pawns on the king side and getting under control the pawn on g4. Yeah, protecting the pawn on g4. This is asking for a rook trade. White does not do that. Okay, king to e7. Basically, you know, white does not have the dark square bishop, so the king cannot be attacked on that square. Knight jumps on f4. Rook takes. Okay, continuing the pawn storm on the king side. Now the knight on c5 is an excellent piece, had to be removed, even though I didn't want to play this because this allows white to strengthen the pawns in the center, and basically it's going to be very difficult, but what to do? So now queen, I'm trying to make it active, attacking the pawn on g4, this pawn, with the knight and with the queen. Also this pawn is under pressure, so this I did not see. It's a good move, because the point is that if takes, then queen takes, and the queen is very active. Yeah, and you see the pawn chain is completely destroyed. So I did not play that. I removed the king backwards. Now knight here. This allows actually this pawn to be captured, which I do. Takes, and then the rook aligns against this knight, trying to capture it. But knight comes here, excellent square for the knight, cannot be kicked away, also keeps under defense this square, yeah, not allowing the rook to infiltrate. So, there's a nice check, king comes back in the game, and now I actually could have taken this pawn. I was afraid for rook to come here to d7, but of course the knight, if he captures the pawn, then it takes under protection. This square. So in the game I played rook to d8, takes and takes. And why? Because basically now you see the pawn structure of white is not the best one. Yeah, my pawns are protected. I have 3 islands. My opponent has also 3 islands, but these 3 pawns, well basically these 2 pawns are very difficult to protect in the endgame. So king advances, king also advances, but this king is too far from this queen side. Okay, so knight is trying now to be active and then, you know, not allowing the king to come here, and then if king goes to e1, then there's gonna be a nice check, which I don't know, for the moment doesn't allow black to capture, but still it could be a good move. Okay, this basically attacks this pawn, which is impossible to defend. Now also knight is trying to say, okay, you take this pawn, I take this pawn. Okay, I do that. Knight also take on f7. There's a check, removing this pawn, and now look at the pawn structure. I have 2 connected, protected passed pawns on the queen side. Okay, this pawn stops this pawn from promoting, and these 3 pawns are also blocked by my pawns on the king side. So knight tries to come here attacking this pawn. There's a nice check here, winning the, well actually not winning the pawn, because then the knight is also going to take this pawn with check, which is not good. Instead I'm attacking this pawn on e5, also defending this knight. White did take, but this actually does not work. This is a good move, I did not see it, but still it doesn't work. I paused here for like half a minute, if I remember correctly, thinking like should I take, but yes, it makes sense to take, because now if takes, black takes the pawn in the center, and look, now we have to make a pause and have a look at the pawn structure. So we see 2, as we said, protected passed pawns on the queen side. The king is not able to stop both of them, yeah, not able to take also one of them, because if king will come here and take, and then this pawn is going to march, nothing can be stopped. Also the king placement is excellent, the black king, because it helps basically these pawns to stop this 3 pawns. So white is losing in this position, but still the game goes on. So white does not have to do much, just shuffles left and right. Okay, and now I could there was a moment for me to push one of the pawns, and why not take the opportunity. So the pawn is pushed. The king, as you see, is just shuffling up and down. The pawn is pushed a little bit more, coming closer to that promotion square. So, you know, just pushing the pawns, and white cannot do anything. Now it's time for white to stop the pawn, so the pawn cannot advance. This pawn is stopped. However, white cannot take this pawn, because again this one is going to march forward, yeah? So now it's time for black to just say, okay, you can be there, I'm gonna eat all these pawns, promote either these ones, or maybe if they get exchanged, coming here and then pushing those pawns and winning the game. Yeah, now this is actually a very interesting moment, because let's say if I wouldn't push this pawn up, yeah, let's say what happens in the game, then I'll show you the variation. So takes, you see this pawn's blocked. This pawn is blocked by the pawn on h3. This pawn is blocked by the king. So now it's basically it's easy. Just the king will come here and eat this one, and then eat this one, and then promote, and then white. I mean, this is basically it's very simple to understand. And this is what happens. So here the game actually ended. But let me see. It would be important if on this moment I wouldn't push the pawn on h3, but the pawn on g3. So let's say takes. Yeah, takes, and now the pawn moves here, getting the protection on the pawn on g2. So let's say black is still winning here, but it's not so easy. Let's say if black wants to... now the idea would be for black to bring here the king and then push this pawn slowly and promote, and then white is not in time actually to push this pawn. But let's say in a short time control, let's say the king wanted to come here, right, and then try to promote this g3 pawn, and then in this case it would be a draw, and because then the pawns promote actually at the same time. Okay, so you can see white even promotes first, black also promotes, but now white will start checking the king, and it's unlikely that I mean, okay, here it's fine because there's a nice check, yeah, but it would be tricky to get this position, and you know, that's why always the pawn endgames is a bit tricky, so it's always important for us to take moments and to try to understand what actually goes on in the position, and then create a new attacking plan. So thank you for watching this. Thank you to my opponent for playing this game. I enjoyed playing it, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you.